we finally answer the question, are Kryptonian men or women stronger?
In this special edition of DCTV that covers the Supergirl Season 2 season finale. Hi, I'm Jason Inman.
And I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
And welcome to this very special DCTV recap edition where we only cover the Supergirl Season 2 finale. That's right, all these season finales have been so big, we're gonna cover them by themselves. We already made an Arrow video that's pretty cool, a lot of fun, and now we're gonna cover Supergirl, but first, before we get into the episode, let's give you the synopsis.
Supergirl Season 2, Episode 22, Nevertheless, She Persisted. Supergirl challenges Rhea to battle to save National City. Meanwhile, Superman returns and Cat Grant offers Supergirl some sage advice.
All right, just like every other DCTV recap video we've ever done, we're gonna start with the good, then we're gonna go to the bad, then we're gonna give the rating, and then we're gonna give some predictions. So Ashley, start off talking about Supergirl and what you liked about it.
I liked the fight. It was awesome. So we saw at the end of last episode that Superman's a little crazy, a little cuckoo bananas. It turns out that he's under control of silver kryptonite, which I've never heard of before, but fine. And then proceeds like
look it up.
A 10-minute fight with Supergirl, and it's awesome. It's so good. He like punches her through a building and it looks really great and the CG is amazing, and then they fight in this fountain in silhouette and their stunt doubles do an awesome job, and when they get facey shots they do an awesome job, and per comic book continuity, Kara's a better, well, maybe not a better fighter, but Kara's stronger because Kryptonian women are stronger. That's a big thing about Power Girl as well.
That is canon.
Yeah.
By the way, before any of you come at us in the comments, it is canon, comic book canon, that Kryptonian females are stronger than Kryptonian males.
And it's a great setup for what is going to come later in this episode.
It's a good excuse,
I just thought the fight was so good. Like, if it was just the 10 minutes at the start of this episode, I would have been like, best episode of Supergirl ever.
Yeah, it was a very powerful fight, and it was really good. Now, there were a couple spots where the CGI looked a little silly and a little weak, but you know what? The fight was so strong that I really, really, really liked it. Also, by the way, I looked up Silver Kryptonite. It is comic book canon, and guess what?
I just don't know that much about the different kryptonites. I'm sorry.
You know, I only remember like out of the 4 basic forms. Like I don't get, once you go beyond like red and blue, I really don't know.
I know
or
there's
gold.
A pink one
but
that we've sort of glossed over.
But Silver Kryptonite does in the comic books exactly what it does here. It makes you super paranoid and fearful.
Yeah.
So there was a great shot that I really want to specifically talk about during the Superman-Supergirl fight. This push out the window, and the camera follows them, like Superman's pushing Supergirl, and the camera follows them, goes all the way down to the ground until they smash and collide in the ground. What a great, great shot. You can definitely tell they saved some money for this finale.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What
And it was really, really worth it. I really like the way that Zod was incorporated. That's also a big part of this initial fight, is that Superman is hallucinating.
What a little tease, huh? We thought Zod was going to be a major villain in this thing, and he's just a little guy.
I don't like Zod that much, so I actually thought the use of him here was really clever, and it was a really clever shorthand for how Silver Kryptonite works, and I think—
Ashley, you must kneel! Kneel before your dislike of Zod.
Never gonna kneel before Zod. Michael
First
Shannon,
you!
Never gonna happen.
And then your ass!
I have no—
Terrence Stamp,
I
thank
have
you.
no heirs. I have 0 heirs. I would kneel before Feora. She's cool.
Or Ursa.
Or Ursa.
Sure. Because
I forget which one is which sometimes. But I like... They look the same. They have the same haircut.
Keep going. Still?
I like the actor who they...
All right, so what I really like this episode, you got some more?
Yeah.
Keep going.
I like the actor who they cast to play Zod.
Oh, cool.
He looked like Clancy Brown, and I thought that was cool.
He's a Vancouver character
actor
that I've seen in a couple of things. You know what? I'll give it to them. I'm fine with that, like still getting our Zod cake and getting to eat it too.
There's still a good chance that he's coming back.
They might recast him, but whatever.
No, I think they'll just cast the same guy. He's kicking around.
Sure. Okay, so there was a nice little small little things. I'm gonna blast through a couple of them here real quickly.
Okay.
Wynn gets to see Superman again, and he says, "Good to see." And Superman's like, "Good to see you, buddy." And he's like, "I love love you.
That's the best thing. I want somebody, I'm sure someone's already done it, but someone's already gifted out that I love you. Like, I love so much that, like, Winn is, like, indelibly attracted to Superman. It's so funny.
Well, it's the fact that Superman remembers him.
Yeah.
It's a Jimmy Olsen moment from the comics.
Yeah,
since our
and
Jimmy
since
Olsen
we don't
is
have,
kind of terrible.
yeah.
Okay.
He's in, like, a...
Cat Grant saying to Clark Kent, once again, Kansas, you're the only man who gets me. Like that.
I love it. I love that Kat just wants to, like, ruin him.
Yep.
Like, she loves him so much.
She wants to tear him apart in ways that are not appropriate for children.
Yeah. But then she also wants him to bring her breakfast. I love their scenes together. I think they both play them really well.
Then there's a moment where Superman is sparring with Kara before her giant fight, and he shows her this move, and he goes, I picked that up on Warworld.
Yeah.
That is the home of mother flippin' Mongol. That is huge. And if you don't know who Mongol is, go look it up. He's the guy who helped destroy Coast City. Big, yellow, bastard guy. That's basically his best description. He brings people to Warworld. He makes them fight. We are confirming that Mongol exists in this universe. That is a very exciting possibility.
It's not done lightly.
Yes.
That is seated there for a reason.
And also, Mongol has a sister. I can't remember. I think her name is Rampage, if I remember right. It doesn't matter. Whatever. But she fights Supergirl. And so it's like, oh, is that where we're going? Because if we see Mongol or Rampage in a future episode, my fanboy head is going to explode.
Yeah.
Mongol's one of those characters that I just was like, we'll never ever see this character in live action, and the fact that we might see him on Supergirl is fantastic.
Yeah,
it's really good. So what else did you dig?
I like that we got McGann back.
Yeah, me too.
So, something I'll talk a little bit more in the bad is that Martian Manhunter is pretty much benched for the entire episode.
Well, about 3/4 of it, yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but he's the reason that McGann comes back. Their bond is cemented. Their romance is cemented. This is a huge step forward for his character, just in terms of his development and in terms of we're trying to open people's minds. This is a very progressive show. We have very liberal messages, and he's willing to, like, open himself up to a white Martian. Plus the fact that she shows up with white Martian allies. That's epic. That would be such a good plot for next season. And I want to see that.
Because she says that she's like, oh, they're not all bad. And again, I wrote this down as the good too. Like, this is an interesting character arc for John Jones, whose people were wiped out by the White Martians, to sort of fall in love with the White Martian.
I want it.
Is a very, and they really give the impression that they're going to go to a room and do Martian things to each other.
Yeah, whatever that might be.
I've heard that that's a lot of making potatoes.
Martian potatoes.
Yes.
Potatoes.
Potatoes, yes. And listening to the Bee Gees.
They have Bee Gees on Mars?
They do.
Oh, man.
If the Martian told me anything.
The Bee Gees.
The Bee Gees are on Mars. Here's the thing. When you told me at the beginning of this season that you're like, hey, let's make predictions for the end of Supergirl Season 2, I never would have predicted it's a fist fight between Supergirl and TERI Hatcher. I never would have predicted that. But you know what? I'm kind of down with it.
I will give, TERI Hatcher can throw a punch when you see that it's her and not her double. I actually thought she did a really good job. And it's cool that it comes down to two women. It's not always Kara fighting a dude.
Well, I will tell you this, and this is, I think, might be a little bit my bad. This is the second season in a row we're ending the season where she's fighting well, she beat her aunt a little bit ahead of the finale.
She's fighting evil ladies with brown hair. I see your problem.
Yes, she's another semi-Kryptonian lady with brown hair.
Look.
I'm just pointing that out again. Another alien invasion.
Supergirl falls into the same classic trap that Superman comics and stories have fallen into forever. We have to find someone physically strong enough because it's not just enough to mess with their emotions. So
their name is Mongol.
Strap in. It's going to happen every season until the end of Supergirl.
Until the Mongol season. I also really liked, we turned on the LED device and all the Daxamites were falling over. I thought that was really good. And there's
You're just going to kill everyone with that. LED is bad for everyone. What?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's a terrible idea.
But there was always
should have been a mother box.
There was also a really cool. They don't have mother boxes on here yet. There was also a really cool shot of Superman in space or in the sky watching the fleet go that looked really good.
Yes,
looked really, really good. Also, there's a nice little moment of Cat Grant at the end after the disaster. And it kind of seems like Cat Grant might be sticking around somehow, but I doubt she will.
She will not be.
She'll stick around probably for maybe the beginning episode of next season.
Yeah.
And she tells Kara that she's been reading her articles. And she's like, your prose is okay, and you're getting good articles, so like you're actually doing really good. And then Kara walks out of the room and she goes like, see you later, Supergirl.
Good!
Yep. And I was like, it's about damn time. If Cat Grant can recognize Jimmy Olsen with this much space, then she could definitely recognize a pair of glasses.
Yeah.
Or see past a pair of glasses. But I thought that was a nice little beat for Cat Grant.
Cat Grant gets the best speeches. She really does.
Sometimes they go a little overboard with them. But like last episode,
they're a little on the nose sometimes.
Yeah, but I thought this was great. Okay, any other good things before you want to move into the bad?
So, I generally didn't think Mon-el was great in this episode, but there is a scene where he's like in the battle and he's punching Daxamite guards, and it just looks like he's punching Guardian over and over again. Yeah. And I thought that was super funny. So now we can move into the bad.
All right, let's move into the bad. In the very beginning, Superman and Supergirl fight.
I knew you were going to bring
Maggie
this up.
and Alex show up to the park. Well, everybody runs away, simply to maybe get hit by rubble.
They do so that Alex can run up and catch
But
Kara
still, they're there for like 5 minutes being like, ah!
As we were watching it, Jason said, what are Maggie and Alex doing there?
What are they doing there besides get crushed by rubble?
I think that's an 80-20 rule. I think most people are not going to notice that.
It bothered the hell out of me because for every wide shot, we saw Maggie and Alex just kind of like, God, a rock! You know, like
that's a director. That's not their
It was
fault.
a bad choice. They could have just had Maggie and Alex run in at the last second. We would have bought it. Also, another bad. Maggie really doesn't do a damn thing in this episode.
Maggie doesn't have anything to do in this episode.
Besides standing around.
Besides her final scene with Alex, there is a scene where Jean and McGann are going off to do their Martian fighty with the bad guys, and he goes, Alex, you're in charge. And Maggie's like, don't worry, I'm here. And I'm like, I get it. But Maggie is in no way qualified to, like, work at the DEO.
Yeah.
She's a cop. That's what she's good at. And I know you want to have those two characters together for this emotional moment, blah, blah, blah. She shouldn't have been there.
Well, I was going to bring up that scene for the very reason because we lost the DEO last episode.
Yes.
Like, they were working out of the bar.
Yes.
And very quickly in this episode, even though the Daxamites are invading, they just went back to the DEO and the Daxamites never gave them any problems. And they were working out of the DEO like it was just fine. And then that scene you brought up, Alex, this is the staging of Alex in that scene, Kyler Lee.
Yeah, Kyler Lee.
She's leaning on the table like this. And Maggie comes up to her and be like, I got your back. And I wanted to be like, for what? Leaning on the table?
I feel like it was probably take 25 of that scene at the end of a long day and no one told her to stand up. But it was just a poorly executed scene that we really didn't need in the first place, unfortunately.
Rhea has kryptonite blood.
Dumb.
What?
Dumb.
What?
Dumb.
It just doesn't, it does not compute because then that would, it doesn't compute.
Yeah.
It really doesn't compute.
Somebody thought it was a good shorthand and it's just not, frankly.
It was just a chance to get kryptonite into the final
fight.
One
more time, yeah. Why, when Kara is going to go fight and we've established that she's the strongest, she's the best, she's going to go fight, that Superman's just like, nah, Mon-el, you should definitely go and be her second. Because I'm stronger than you. I'm a more well-trained fighter. I've been doing this longer. Rhea's not my mom. But you go ahead, bro. You get it. Like, I know you do that because he's her boyfriend and that's the contract of the scene, but Superman really should have been the one to go and back up Supergirl.
I won't knock that as much simply for the fact that if you're going to have somebody deal with the fleet while somebody else is going to the fight, my pick would be Superman, who can actually fly, because Mon-el can only jump really far.
Yeah, that's true. I
get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying.
This episode, too, I really enjoyed what Tyler Hoechlin was doing, and I wanted to see more of him as Superman, as opposed to, like,
He's quite skinnier. I will point out, he was quite skinnier in this finale than he was in the beginning.
Yeah, I think he looked better here.
Okay.
I did.
Cool.
I did.
Okay, then let's talk about Alex proposing to Maggie when they've only been together for about 7 months.
So, I have no problem with this on the surface of it, and I have no problem if the first real wedding that we get in Supergirl is going to be Maggie and Alex's.
No, we already had a wedding. It was Supergirl and Mixed with Split.
Yeah, but we've had 2 fake weddings.
What was the first one?
That was the first one, and then we had mon-el and Lena.
Oh, I forgot about that one already.
She had like this beautiful red dress on.
Oh
it was
my
amazing.
God. Yeah, and they had their like fake genetic baby somehow.
Yeah, they had Connor somewhere off in a test tube at I almost said Star Labs.
Yep, Alex and Maggie.
Right, so I have no problem if the first real wedding that we're gonna get that actually means something is between these 2 characters. I really like them as a couple, but they've been dating for like a whole minute, and they have one of the most dysfunctional relationships.
They do.
So I know that it was supposed to be this thing that came out of this tragedy and like, oh, it made me appreciate how much I love you and I want to be with you. It should have happened at the beginning of next season is when the proposal should have happened. And I think it felt rushed, and I think because that it wasn't given the weight it deserved.
Well, because Maggie's only purpose in this episode is to get proposed to.
Yeah.
Then.
But they're great in the scene.
Sure.
They're sweet together, but
sure.
In amongst all this other stuff, it doesn't matter as much as it would in a regular episode.
Any other final bads?
No,
besides the last song.
The last song was pretty tragic.
Okay. Let's move into the rating based on a scale of 1 to 5 saran wrap S shields. Ashley, what do you give this? And then she persisted?
Nevertheless.
Yes. Nevertheless, she persisted.
Because it was resist. Nevertheless.
Yeah, it's an Elizabeth Warren quote.
Yes. I think this was a really good episode of Supergirl. I think between the 2, it is definitely the best finale.
That's not saying much,
I
though.
think, but it's all I have it to compare to. I think it had so many characters and so much to accomplish, and I really think on the whole, it did all of it very well. And just that fight scene was like one of the greatest fight scenes in DCTV history, definitely in Supergirl history. So I'm going to give it 5. I thought it was an awesome episode of Supergirl. How about you? What are you going to give the finale episode of Supergirl?
You are correct. This is way better than the season 1 finale. There was a lot of good stuff in it. The problem with this episode for me is that I think it peaked in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The Superman fight is so good that it's really tough to follow that act up with a kind of okay fight with TERI Hatcher.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of the thing. I get why they did that, but nonetheless, this is a really, really strong finale. Most of the characters that you care about get strong beats, and they do an interesting thing with all the relationships between the characters. I'm gonna give it a 4. It's not a perfect finale, but it's pretty damn strong. It's really right. It's up there. All right. So based on this episode, Ashley, what do you think's coming in Supergirl season 3?
A wedding for sure. The way they timeline stuff in this universe, we're either gonna open on the wedding or we're gonna open on them on their honeymoon because stuff moves quick in this universe.
Oh no, I think they're gonna drag it out the entire season, but sure.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
you think they're gonna get cold?
Because I think they're gonna want to do the relationship drama of a wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's
gonna do it on Flash too.
And then it's gonna be about trying to get Maggie's parents to show up to the wedding.
What if there's a wedding in every DC TV series next year?
Oh, because we have Barry and Iris's wedding.
We have Barry and Iris.
Well, no, but Barry's in the Speed Force now.
He'll be in the Speed Force until the first act of... We'll save that for another video, but yes. Definitely a wedding, and I think we're gonna see the return of Miss Martian. We're either gonna see the return of Miss Martian in a meaningful, recurring guest star kind of way, or we're gonna have an entire arc where Jean goes back to Mars for the first time.
Interesting.
Either way, I'm into it. I think that you don't put those 2 characters together with a little sprinkling of Martian growth, I don't know how to describe it, and not pay it off, especially because he got so shafted the last 3 or 4 episodes. So what do you think is coming down the pipe for Supergirl?
I don't really have a lot of predictions. Wedding sounds about right, but I think they're gonna drag the wedding out the entire until Valentine's Day.
Let me
Yeah.
I hope it. Let me ask you, do you have a prediction based on the apparently 3rd or 4th pod that left Krypton?
That's what I was gonna talk about. Yes. So we see this pod that is on Krypton. It'll be the 3rd pod that left Krypton, but it'll be the 4th pod that left the Kryptonian system, because the other pod was
apparently
Daxamites.
They were just selling these pods at Costco, and everyone picked them up before the tragedy.
They did. there's a lot of different ideas about who could be that pod. They don't really give you a lot of clues, but they do give you a couple strong clues. And they say rain, long may your reign, whatever. The baby's also crying, and the woman cuts her hand and gives the baby blood, and the baby goes quiet. So my idea is that this is some version of Doomsday.
Ooh.
That this is either the Doomsday or a girl version of Doomsday.
Lady Doomsday.
Because Doomsday's bloodthirsty, Doomsday's Kryptonian, and also Doomsday has been done on a TV budget before. Not well on Smallville, but we have seen Doomsday on a TV budget before, and now that we're in the advent of CGI, I think you could do Doomsday on a budget. I don't know.
I mean, they did King Shark, so I don't think Doomsday is a far cry from what they're doing with that on the Flash.
Yeah, but they could do my prediction is they're probably going to do it a little bit like Smallville, where Doomsday looks human and then
has a human form
and then transforms, which is what they did on
Doomsday
Smallville.
Doomsday and Mongol buddy cop team up.
Yes, science cops. So I'm gonna go with Doomsday right now, just because the blood thing. There's lots of other possibilities of who could be, and Supergirl loves to mix and match, of course.
Yes, they do.
Like especially how they mixed up Mon-El and like his origin and stuff like that. So I'm gonna say Doomsday. It literally could be like 20 different characters. So there you go. All right, so you may be saying to yourself, of course, what's going to happen to DCTV after this? There's going to be plenty of theory videos over the summer, but next week, we're going to do the best of the season DCTV awards, the fake Oliver Queen beard awards.
Yes.
Down in the comments, we want you to pick the categories. We're looking for best actor, best fight, best special effects,
best couple,
best
costume,
stupidest line of the entire season.
Ooh.
We're looking for those little award categories. We're gonna pick the ones we like. We're gonna shout out your name, and we're gonna choose them.
Yeah.
And we're gonna give them the fake Oliver Queen beard award, or the fake
the Quiver awards.
The Quiver.
The Quivers.
The Quig awards, because Queen wig. Get it? I don't know. Name the awards in the comments. I don't care.
Yeah, we need help.
But that's what's going to happen next week on DCTV. Hope you enjoyed these videos, and make sure you want to come to the Quickies.
The Quickies.
So go down in the comments, help us pick the awards for next week, and click subscribe.
And why not click on one of the videos that's popped up on the screen? And for more exclusive geeky content, go to patreon.com/Jawiin.
Yeah, we'll see you next week, you Doctor Who loving monkeys. No, we're not doing Doctor Who review videos anymore. We're not.